last night. I don't get triggered easily.
Oh, hey, sorry, folks. If you want to get triggered, get triggered.
I think sometimes what happens is people hear trigger words and it just creates reaction. That's like anger.
Presenting his one-man show.
Triggered, untriggered, or triggered. All right. And this is 31 triggers. This is the triggers of contents. 31 triggers like Baskin Robbins. There's 31 flavors. There's 31 triggers. They rotate every month. And tonight, I'm going to do all 31. No. Are you crazy? I have a limited amount of time here, and I want to talk to you about my life. I'm the youngest of 5 boys. Was on Dora, Law and Order. Name dropping, watch your feet. Okay? Hope it doesn't trigger you. All right, I have my beautiful parents who live in Connecticut, and they have a beautiful condo, and I call them every week. And here is the first trigger word that came up on my phone. Let's see it, Steph. My condolences, okay? I knew my mom was sick. I know the ambulance came, took her to the hospital, got better, she came home. My friend texted me my condolences. I'm like, oh my God! So I call. I go, hello. She goes, hello? I said, you're alive! Oh, yes, I'm alive. I said, well, people think you're dead. Oh, this condo, Philip. I said, what happened? Well, the ambulance came, and they put me in the gurney, and I didn't want my neighbors to see me, so I pulled the sheet over my head. Now, the reason I use this diagram is because pictures are as triggering as just the events themselves. So my parents have been together for over 50 years, and my mom has a physical exam. And obviously, it's stressful, right? So again, I call her when she gets home. She's quiet. I said, Mom, what's wrong? Well, the doctor asked me a question. I said, that's what they do, Mom. Well, Philip, he asked me if I was sexually active. And I said, no, I usually just lay there. Do you think he's the pervert? And I was like, no, that's probably the greatest question or answer to a question he's ever heard. So now I'm gathering these triggers in my family, and then these triggers go beyond my family. So, okay, so this is for anybody that's a fisher person, people that like to fish. So my friend invited me out to fish. And he was like, you gotta come. It's great. Last time we were here, we caught 40 fish. I said, okay. So we're out there fishing, and the guy that we're going with, Mike, the fisher guide, was really down in the dumps. And I said to Nico, my friend, I said, what's up with this guy? You told me he's real funny. We're supposed to have a good time. Oh, he just broke up with his girlfriend. I said, Mike, come over here. We're on the boat, looking out at the water. I said, Mike, you of all people should understand this. Put my arm around him. Mike, there's plenty of fish in the sea. All right? So we go fishing, right? We start catching fish, and I want to take pictures and tell people, and all of a sudden Nico screams, stop spot burning! And I go, spot? What are you talking about, spot burning? Stop it! If they find out our coordinates, you're burning our spot, and our fish are gone! And I was like, all right, relax. And I said, I got a trigger word for you. And he's like, what is it? I said, catch and release. He goes, yeah, what about it? I said you caught 40 fish in this spot last week, right? He goes, yeah. I said, but if they're not big enough, you got to put them back, right? Or if you don't want them, you got to put them back. Yeah. So I said, you caught the same fish 40 times! So I tell my nephew about this, and he wants to go fishing, right? He's like, oh, we're going to catch 1 million. We don't catch any, right? We catch one at the very last thing, right? One! It's on the hook. We're going to take pictures for social media. It flies off the hook. My nephew goes down to grab it. He comes back up. He's got the hook in his nose. Steph, hit him! Hit him with it. Look at this kid! Look at how happy he is! He is so triggered with joy! Right? Of course! The Galinsky family's like, move! Get out of the way! We want to post this on Instagram, TikTok. Mother's like, he's got to go to the hospital! We're like, look at his face! He loves this! Old man on the dock walks by. I seen a hook in the back, one in the ear. Never in the nose. My nephew's like, so what are we going to do, Uncle Phil? And I go, all right, look, relax. Your dad's going to take you to the emergency room. Yeah. They're going to take a needle into your nose, numb it, and yank out the hook. And now he's triggered. Now he starts bawling. They're gonna put a needle in my nose. I'm like, you already have a hook in it! This is very traumatic for me because I went into surgery. As you guys can see, I'm a superior athlete. However, I play handball in New York City and I blew out my knee. So I had to get my ACL repaired. And the doctor said, do you have any pre-existing conditions? And I said, I used to wet the bed when I was little. And he said, no. I said, Doc, seriously, can you go to the next slide? I said, I wet the bed. This is from Sears Roebuck. It's called the Wheeler. This is real. It's got jumper cables attached to a bed sheet, okay? And it shocks your brain until your brain and your bladder get going together. I'm not lying. This is a real product, okay? So for 3 days I didn't sleep, and I was cured because I didn't really want all this to happen to me. Does that make sense, right? So I tell the doctor, he's like, well, we have a good rapport. Why don't I'll do a local for you? And I said, what's that? He goes, I'll numb you from the waist down. We'll put a sheet here. You won't see anything. I'll work on your knee. We'll talk, and everything will be fine, right? So he's doing it. He's talking. I hear, I'm like, dude, just knock me out, right? I don't need the aggravation, right? So he knocks me out. I wake up in the operating room, fluid everywhere. And I said, doctor, I told you I used to wet the bed. And I said, I'm so sorry. He goes, no, you were funny. I said, what do you mean I was funny? He goes, you kept coming in and out of consciousness, asking us if it was a boy or a girl. I was like, oh. So we're all bonding, we're all having fun. They wheel me into my room, and I see the little sign on your door of your room. Show that, please. It triggers me. Philip Galinsky, bed wetter. And I go, doctor, what the French toast? Everybody who comes in this hospital knows I'm a bedwetter now. What the hell is wrong with you guys? And the nurse is like, why are you so triggered? I said, I was a bedwetter as a kid. I don't need to be reminded of it. She goes, that's bed W. And I go, what do you mean? She goes, you have a guy, right, your roommate? I said, yeah, he's bed D. I said, what the hell's he bed D? Because that's bed near the door. You're bed W near the window, so when we get food, we know where to send it to. I'm sorry I got triggered, okay? Excuse me. This is a little bit of an audience participation part of this show. Abbreviations, do you guys like them? Especially in texts, do you like them? Do you like the letter K? No. All right. How about this? I have a birthday, and my niece sends HBD. Are you kidding me? You can't type out the whole thing? Just HBD? I was furious. I send that Dora clip of me as the bear. I love birthday cakes for somebody's birthday. I make an effort. Sometimes I copy and paste, but I make an effort. So I think she found out I was upset, so I get this letter in the mail. And I'm like, oh my God, is she like writing like old school apology, right? And I get it, and I go, oh, I'm getting invited to her wedding, right? So I said, oh, okay. And I went on the social medias, and I typed, so excited, my niece just gave me an STD. Save the date! How do you like those abbreviations? So we're going to go cancel culture in 4 words. So I do award-winning podcasts with these youths in NYC housing, right? And we were doing a podcast, and my phone kept ringing. This is a trigger hack. My phone kept ringing. And they're like, answer it. I said, no, I will wait for a voicemail. Of course, the person doesn't leave a voicemail, but I have the number, right? So the kids go, you don't know the Venmo hack? I said, what's the Venmo hack? They're like, if you get a phone number on your phone and you don't know who it is and they don't leave a message and you don't answer it, type it into Venmo and you'll find out who they are. Huh? Very smart kids, right? So we win this award for the podcast, and they go up to get the award, and they go, Philip, come up, you helped us so much. So I come up, and I'm like, and there's a hoity-toity, a lot of people there, this and the other. And I go, tell us a joke, because you're so funny. So I go, okay. I said, where's the best place to work if you only have one leg? IHOP. Right? Good, bad, but it triggered the CFO of the company to take me in on Monday and fire me. So you can't do this. It was a very offensive joke. I can't believe you would do that. And I said, okay. So I tell the kids I got fired. They go, you got to fight it, Philip. You helped us out so much. Go to the Legal Aid Society. See if you can do this. So I said, all right, I'll do it for you, for the kids. So I go to the Legal Aid. I call I tell them what happened, I tell them the joke. The lady's like, it's not too bad, it's actually pretty funny. And I go, do you want to hear the follow-up? And she's like, sure. And I said, what's the name of the female manager that runs the IHOP that only has one leg? She says, what? Eileen. Right? So she says, you know what, Phil? You're a freelancer, they're going to have all these lawyers, they're going to drag it out, you're not going to win. And I go, you know what? I figured I didn't have a leg to stand on. I'm here all night, folks. Actually, I'm going to wrap it up with 4 words. Now, these 4 words are the words that every kid hears that hates these words, but when they become parents and adults, they love to say the 4 words, okay? This is a trigger for all the kids that are now adults. It's still a trigger. I'll give you a scenario. I was probably 9 years old, and I wanted to go to my friend Frankie's for a sleepover. It was Saturday. I told my mom I cleaned my room, I did my homework. I said, I'm going to Frankie's for a sleepover. She says, no. I say, why? She says, because I said so. Right? 4 words drives every kid nuts. Is it driving you nuts? Is it triggering you, getting you traumatic? So don't do what I did after. I go in the living room, my dad's there, I'm like, they're not working together. And I go, Dad, can I go to Frankie's? And he's got a 5-word sentence. What did your mother say? So I go back into the kitchen, and I'm still trying to do this, right? I'm still trying to crack the code. And I go to my mom, I go, Tommy's mom's letting him go. I'm not Tommy's mother. Right? And then she gets right in my face. And she goes, Philip, do I compare you to other kids? And I said, no. Don't you ever compare me to another mother. And that was it, right? And as I got older, I talked to her about it, the triggers and all these things. I said, those 4 words really hurt me. And she goes, listen, Philip, I really meant something else, because I said so, but the 4 words that I really want to tell you is because I love you. I didn't want you to be embarrassed at the sleepover and pee. So this is my sweet mother. And sometimes you say because I said so, but it really means because I love you. All right. Thank you, everybody!